Illiterate, a podcast where four friends overthink movies about cars and family. I am Jake, and I love citrus.
I'm Jason, and I love Peeps, and I think that Easter candy is the best candy, seasonal candy.
My name's Matt. I don't like Peeps. In fact, I don't like most candies.
That's fine, you should die, though.
I like Kit Kats.
In fact, I hate
Reese's.
all sugar.
I love candy.
Maybe it'd be better. Matt, you should maybe list out a list of the candies that you do like.
It's just
You
Kit
know, you like
Kats,
Pocky,
Reese's.
so is Pocky.
Does Pocky count?
Pocky's not really candy
It's just
per
chocolate on a
se.
stick.
It's basically a cookie
That's
stick
just-
being covered in chocolate.
It's like candy adjacent.
Jason.
Yeah, I only like
It's a sweet treat.
I only like Kit Kats, Reese's.
It is a sweet treat.
M&M's are passable. What's it called? Butterfingers. They're passable.
Oh, I love Butterfingers.
They just
I
taste
love
they get stuck in your teeth.
So, I could talk about candy that I like all fucking day. You could literally just have this
now-
podcast be about candy that I enjoy.
I guess
no,
since
I wish I could
we're
be
on
like that.
candy,
I wish I could be like that.
I'm Sean, and I like all sour candies. I don't think I've ever had a sour candy that doesn't.
I hate
that
sour
is bad.
candies.
Unless they say that they're sour and then they're sweet. That's the only time when they're bad.
What if they're sour,
Airheads,
then they're
like,
sweet?
I still usually like the ones that say they're sour and they're sweet. I'm just usually disappointed that they're not sour.
Exactly.
But I still usually like them. Sean, have you ever had sour sketty?
I did. I have.
Oh my god, I love it. I love sour candy.
I'm a big fan of the Sour Patch Kids, and I'll shove that shit in my mouth in every orifice I have. I don't know
Clip
why.
that, clip
I love
that,
them.
clip
Red
that.
juicy
Clip
drop
that.
pops.
I like the texture of goo on me.
Sean likes cum in his mouth.
Abandoning all
That's
subtlety
That's
now.
what we figured out.
Are we all introduced now?
Yeah.
Alright, so I think goo
think
is the
so.
first recommendation of the week. Just goo as a concept.
Fucking goo.
Whatever that means to you, we recommend it.
Give me goo.
No.
Give me goo or give me death.
Speaking
No.
of,
Is that what they said?
I think that, I'm pretty sure that's in the Constitution, or at least the Declaration. Speaking of Rex, have any of you guys seen Sinners yet?
No,
Not yet.
I
plan on watching it soon.
Y'all
gonna-
gotta. I gotta be able
I
to
was
talk
gonna
to
watch it
someone.
Sunday, but I missed it.
I don't know anybody who has seen it yet, and it's so go see Sinners. Anybody listening, please. It's so good, but nobody in my
I
life
don't
has
know
seen it yet.
anything about it, but I don't really want to. I just want to see it.
Yeah, definitely go see it. See it on if it's still. I doubt it's showing anywhere in a premium screen still, but if you can go see it in like Dolby or IMAX, do it because it's spectacular.
I want to see it, but I hate packed theaters, and the theaters are always packed, so I haven't seen it yet.
My theater was packed, but it was a good crowd. Like nobody was bad in the theater. Everyone had good etiquette.
I mean, I watched The Accountant too. That was
Oh
alright.
god, I did too. It wasn't miserable, but I've already kind of forgotten about it. Just same reaction I had to the first one.
I don't know anything about the first one.
Ben Affleck has super
Neither
autism.
do I.
Yeah, he's an assassin
I'm
with
sorry.
autism.
You said he has super autism.
Yes,
Yes.
he has like advanced autism.
That's
He's
no,
while
that's
they're
all I need to know.
he's single-handedly why they're making the registry, and like the amount of food dyes he must have been exposed to.
The amount of food dies.
Dude, I fucking hate RFK. This is what happens when those Kennedys are allowed to live for this long. What?
It's very easy to hate RFK.
I mean, everyone in that administration is easy to hate, but yeah.
What's really funny thing is there's a video of him like reading food ingredient labels, and he was talking about like all the ingredients that he couldn't pronounce. And my favorite reply was from a doctor that said, if you're unable to pronounce an ingredient, you have no right telling us that you have no knowledge on whether or not it's actually unhealthy for you.
Facts.
Like, if you don't know the word, you don't know that it's actually harmful. You're just saying that it is because you don't know what it is.
Oh, I
Probably
knew
the chemical in the water is turning the frogs gay.
Oh yeah, I forgot that frogs are turning gay.
The frogs are turning gay. I think the fish have autism now.
Oh, wait.
Is one that I've heard.
Speaking of things that are gay, Matt and I decided that we were gonna watch Gamera, like the movies, this past weekend. The second one was a fucking trip. There's a gay lizard that shoots rainbows out of his back. It was fantastic. I've never seen anything weirder. All he did was shoot. He stuck his tongue out. He spread rainbows across the land and evaporated people and everything. It was glorious. He also had an obsession with shiny things. Fucking fantastic. I love my Gamera had gay lizards before lizards were gay, and I love it.
Yup, he shoots gay lizards. He shoots gay rainbows, and he's greedy.
It was a fucking trip because we didn't know what to expect because neither of us had ever seen a Gamera movie before, aside from like recent ones. And I don't know what I was expecting, but it was a lizard that shot rainbows out of his back, and his tongue could freeze people, and it had like it shot out of his mouth, but it looked a little bit like a penis. And it had a slit at the front so that he could spray, like, ice breath, but out of his tongue. So he'd freeze people with his tongue and shoot rainbows out of his back. It was glorious.
There was an awkward scene where it went in and out of his mouth, and it looked something completely different than the tongue, if you catch my meaning.
It was something else. You died.
Did I die?
What?
I was gonna say, did you die? You just, yeah.
I'd appreciate it. I'm not going to yell at anyone for not doing it, but actually, I've noted the Discord calls pick up so much fucking audio with the way we have to record now that the background's really bad, so I mute myself if I'm not talking. Feel free to do that, but I don't care that strongly. But I was just letting y'all talk.
Interesting.
If you miss
I
me,
recommend
gay lizards. I was gonna say if you miss me, I have my fair share, but
of gay lizards.
Of Rex.
I have some Rex.
Oh, we need more gay lizards.
Why doesn't Jason go
Rex,
first?
If we want to get to my Rex.
Sure. I technically gave mine.
I recommend. I just finished listening to Fahrenheit 182 on audiobook, which is Mark Hoppus's memoir. It's interesting. It's a nice book about Mark Hoppus's life. So if you like Blink-182, I'd recommend it. Unless medical things make you squeamish, because there's a part where he talks about having cancer and pretty distinct detail. But other than that, if you're cool with that, you know.
So not for our sister.
What was it again?
Mark Hoppus's memoir. It's called Fahrenheit 182.
I get
it's a
it.
play on Fahrenheit 451.
No,
Fahrenheit
it's a play on Blink-182.
Well, also that.
I also need to watch The Surfer. If you guys don't know, it's a Nicolas Cage movie, and I feel like that's all you really need to know.
Is it supposed to be any good? I heard about that.
What?
I remember seeing it, but I can't remember what it was about.
I'm pretty sure it's about like a surfer who comes back home to surf, and then he gets bullied, and then he starts losing his mind. And it's a Nicolas Cage movie, so you know.
Looks like it's getting pretty strong reviews.
I'm gonna say it's right up my alley.
Yeah, I'll have to see if that plays anywhere near me.
It's playing one
Oh,
time
it's coming out this week? Okay,
on
interesting.
309 at like 8 o'clock, which kind of makes me mad. It's just a random ass time. And it's the only time I could watch it because then Thunderbolts comes out and it kicks it out of the theater.
Then it kicks everything out of the theater. I love that.
Fuck Disney, man.
Which is why I was, like, hoping to see Sinners before then, because I was like, I at least see Sinners before it gets booted.
It's doing well.
Essentially from all...
It only had a 6% drop to second
Which
weekend,
makes
which
me
is
happy,
insane. Well, that means it may be in theaters a little long, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like it's going to have legs, so it may stick around a bit.
Yeah.
Don't waste time, though. Just see it as soon as possible, because it's just so good. So, I got a ham-fisted transition into one of my recs, because Matt talking about Nicolas Cage kind of made me realize that I'd want him to play this character. I am going to, for the second time, recommend a frustratingly hard to get your hands-on comic. This one, Hank Howard Pizza Detective, written by Robert Venditti with art by David Lapham. David Lapham, if for anyone unfamiliar, him and his wife did a series called Stray Bullets, which is one of the like genre-defining crime comics. He is absolute legendary comic book artist. Does a lot of stuff within that kind of like noir, really dark, very violent crime books typically. And he did this series called Hank Howard Pizza Detective that follows a private investigator that works for a big pizza chain. And it's drawn the same way he draws these very serious crime books, and it's written like an old noir film, and it's very self-serious, but it involves cases about like counterfeit arcade tokens, but everything is treated with such a level of gravity in a way that's very like, I am going to open it up a page and find a random line.
Gravitas.
Shut up. At least Mrs.
Gravitas.
Horvath wasn't a widow long. She learned the hard way what came to me easy. Don't bite off more pizza than you can chew. Let's see. Let's go to another random page. With the Vandenberg line broken, the future of Pizza Wheat would be monitored under the watchful eye of the United Nations. Pizza was safe.
Oh no, he's gone.
You can't hear me?
Jake is on.
Did anyone else lose Jake as soon as he started saying that?
I'm gonna be honest. As soon as Jake went away, I looked at Jason's camera just to make sure that it's not my internet that cut out.
Damn. Well, hopefully the recording got me. Can you hear me
Oh
now?
no, he died.
Can you not hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Well,
Your
we'll see how
turn, you're alive.
we'll say how it comes across on the recording. Pizza crime never sleeps. It's just all very self-serious in the most fun way. But it's pretty hard to get. I got a hardcover of it, but yeah, if you have the opportunity, read Hank Howard Pizza Detective. It's a lot of fun, lighthearted, good time. And then with that, this is gonna come out on Wednesday, April 30th. So the following Saturday is Free Comic Book Day. If you're bothering to listen to this, if you've listened to any of these in the past, you probably have some interest in something called Free Comic Book Day. Find a local store. Go support a local business. There's some free books every year you can pick up. They're designed to be really good jumping on points. So just while I'm on the topic of comics, support small businesses and go find your local comic book store this Saturday. First Saturday of May every year, Free Comic Book Day.
I have to look into also what I know you said the Godzilla one is that they're releasing it on Free Comic Book Day or just soon? I can't remember.
Free comic. So IDW is launching. I know I already told you this, Sean. I'm saying this for the hypothetical listener. Is launching a new continuity of Godzilla comics. The line officially launches in July with Godzilla #1, but there's a Free Comic Book Day little prologue issue this Saturday.
See, I love me my gay lizards, and I need more of those. So Godzilla all the way, Daddy.
Anyone else got anything, or should we get into this schmovie?
I said everything
No.
I need to say, I believe.
I gave my rec, and that was gay lizards.
Alright. I'm gonna hope and assume. You know what? If Matt's probably taking care of his sickly cat right now. If he comes back and he's got more to say, we'll circle back. Prayers up for Matt's pussy. Anyway, Fast and Furious 6 is what we're covering today. If you're new here, yeah, we're pretty far into this franchise now. It was released May 24th, 2013, and stars, as you probably guessed, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker as Dominic Toretto and Brian O'Connor. Also returning from the family are Dwayne the Cock Johnson as Hobbs, Jordana Brewster as Mia Toretto, Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris as Roman Pierce and Tej Parker, Song Kang as Han. Unfortunately, Gal Gadot is still around as Giselle, Elsa Pataki as Elena, and most importantly in my book, Michelle Rodriguez returning as Letty Ortiz, who is this movie's kind of heart and soul. Last but not least, necessarily, well, definitely not least, that's Gal Gadot, is newcomer villain Luke Evans as Owen Shaw. The installment was written by Chris Morgan and helmed by series mainstay Justin Lin, shot by Stephen F. Winden. Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say?
The inaugural appearance of Cock Johnson, right?
No, that was 5.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, Hobbs is like the one of the
Yeah,
we were raving about Cock Johnson last time.
We talked about Cock Johnson last time.
This is the inaugural appearance of another.
Of the Shaws.
Yeah, of Cock Johnson's buddy.
Well, this isn't Cock Johnson's main. Well, I guess technically it is his main. I guess you do get Deckard Shaw in the post credit scene. Yeah, I mean we're still smack dab in the middle of the prime of Fast and Furious, I'd say, with this one.
I realized while watching this between all of these up to point, I think 5, 6, and 7 hit the sweet spot of like, this is going to be weird, but I'm going to compare this to Sonic the Hedgehog. Which is the worst fucking thing to compare to, but they both have to do with speed, so it counts.
Gotta go fast.
Like, they do the thing where at a point they start releasing things, in Sonic's case games and Fast and Furious movie, like, they aren't inherently connected to each other, and they're all just kind of like their own adventures, but then they get to a certain point where they start addressing all of them and connecting them all into each other in this weird way that just works so well and is like so well, so you get like a buttload of like just good fan service, but on top of that, like really good interwoven storytelling between like fuck, my mic fell. But you get interwoven storytelling between like all of the stories in the movies, and even the ones that stuck, like the Fast and the Furious 4, or like a large portion of Sonic. It feels great when they acknowledge it, because it makes me feel like, one, it feels good when you don't ignore the bad stuff that you've done, especially moving forward, and like this one is like, to me, a little bit of proof of that. They don't ignore that the Fast and Furious 4 existed, and they kind of are like, but we can take what we did there and make it so much better. So like, I appreciate them for that. And Sonic does the same thing where like, all their more recent games acknowledge like, they had ass games, but they're going to acknowledge them anyways, because there's parts of it that people still like and that are like, should be acknowledged, and it's not like they didn't happen.
Yes.
I don't know, it was one of the weirdest comparisons that I've had, but it was like the one thing I noticed while watching this.
Strong agree. I mean, I'm a big fan of when any kind of long-term storytelling, and this is obviously something that wasn't started as long-term, but became this decade-spanning story, when they just do good improv, when they yes-and it. So, because when you have something like this, there's so many different creatives that go in and out. One of the other examples, in addition to the Sonic franchise, is just any kind of like Big Two comic book, any kind of like cape shit comic book. So many different people have touched Spider-Man, So many people have written and drawn for Spider-Man that obviously some of the shit's not good. There is a lot. There's probably more bad Spider-Man comics than there are decent Spider-Man comics, to be honest. But I don't really find it interesting when like a bad run is ignored so much as when someone like yes ands it and picks up with it and figures it out. So I also like I don't enjoy 4, but I think it's a lot more interesting that they said, okay, now we want to go in a soap opera direction with it. So Letty's actually alive and she has amnesia. I think that's a lot more interesting than if they just kind of pretend 4 didn't happen, whether it be retconning it out of existence or just not address, or just like being like Letty's dead and we're just never going to mention it again. I think this is, it's more, it feels like more respectful of the time almost to be like, listen, it happened, we made the movie, you watched it.
Yeah, it makes me feel like you didn't just like waste your time.
Yeah, and I feel like this also just feels like the first movie where they fully like, where you fully like kind of pause and feel like, oh, like just a few movies ago they were just stealing DVD players, and now it's like this is the first one that starts to like really feel like just like a superhero movie almost. Like there's a good guy and a bad guy in it, and there's a motive and a plan and whatever. Like, not to say that there weren't elements of that in the previous ones, but this is the one where I feel like it really hits its stride of being like, oh, this has come far from what we've started with and become a wholly different thing, but still true to itself in some way.
Yeah, this is the first movie where I feel like it's more apt to describe the family as like secret agents than it is street racers. Even 5, which was a huge step up, they're still ultimately trying to steal money from a drug lord. This is the first one, like, they're working for a secret government agency to take down, like, they try to tie Owen Shaw, the villain, into the Braga stuff from 4 in a way that, like, I guess can be perceived as, like, crime movie, but for the most part, like, this is where the villains start to become more like Bond villains than just a rival gang leader. So the movie picks up following the successful heist in Brazil. There's a really good opening scene where Brian and Dom are racing, and it's like, ooh, where are they trying to get to? What's this race about? And it's to get to the birth of Jack, Brian, and Mia's first child. And then that follows with a great opening credits montage of all the past movies that catch up to this point, in case you haven't seen them, in case you needed a refresher. So, following the heist from Brazil, they're all living the lives they want to live. Dom and his crew, they flood around the world. He's living with Elena from Fast 5 in a country with no extradition. Mia and Brian are living together with their son Jack. Giselle and Han are traveling the world together, but still not Tokyo. We are still not caught up to the events of Fast 3, and we are in Fast 6. And Rome and Pierce are both living a life of luxury. I would say they're both being generous in their own ways. I know, Jason, since he's your boy, will you want to tell us about Rome's jet? You're muted, Jace. You're muted.
I forgot I muted myself. Rome gets a private jet. It's, first of all, the inside of it, he's living his best life. He's got, like, hose. No, he's got beautiful women all around him, not hose. Because I'm not a misogynist. But, no, he's got, like, beautiful ladies all around him. He's drinking. And the jet says, "It's Roman, bitches," on it. And it's beautiful. And I love it. And it's so fitting for his character.
I appreciate that that's what he spent his money on.
Of course. It's like, it wasn't enough for him to get the private jet. He needed it to be personalized.
If only
his name.
If only Tej had a matching one like the cars from the end of 5. Does it make anyone else uncomfortable though, seeing how like absolutely shredded Ludacris is?
It was kind of funny because the whole thing was that they like never show
He's
It's
like
not
the
it's
nerd of the
necessary.
group.
They've never shown him with his shirt off, but as soon as they do, it's like, oh.
I think he was mad. Like every other male in the family had like at least one thirst shot. Like there was definitely been Han thirst shots, plenty of Dom and Brian. There was a ton of Rome thirst shots in Too Fast, Too Furious. I feel like Ludacris came in and was like, I need a scene where I'm inexplicably oiled up and shirtless, just walking down the street, throwing cash at, passersby. Like, I need that. And good for him looking like that, but it made me a little bit like, that just seems wrong. Like, you're not a person that I look at and think should look like that dehydrated and muscular.
I was just about to say, I'm not complaining, Give me more beautiful men.
Exactly, I'm not complaining. I'll take more beautiful men, thank you.
I love those cheese grater abs.
Meanwhile, DSS agents Luke Hobbs and Riley Hicks investigate the destruction of a Russian military convoy by a group of mercenaries led by a former British SAS operative, Owen Shaw. Hobbs locates Dom, convincing him to capture Owen by showing him a photo of his supposedly murdered girlfriend, Letty Ortiz, who we more believe to have been killed in I almost called it episode 4 in Fast 4. Who is working with. I'm gonna come up with. We should, guys. I think when we're caught up on this franchise, we should come up with Star Wars versions of the names.
Furious episode 4, the bad one.
The bad one. Revenge of the
we
shitty
should
movie.
refer to 4 as the bad one from now on, and not referred to
Okay.
as anything else.
So the bad one led us to believe Letty had been murdered, but now we see she's working.
Return of the Letty.
Return to the Letty.
Or the Red Eye.
Rise of Letty.
Return of the Red Eye.
Is the next... Wait, a little bit of spoilers, but is the next one called Revenge of the Han?
I'm not gonna be back in the next one, man.
Or Revenge for the Han?
Revenge. I get what you're saying, though.
It would be Revenge.
I
feel like it would be more Revenge of the
Revenge of the Family?
We'll
Revenge
circle.
of the Family?
We'll circle back in the new year.
We'll circle back to that one.
Where do we leave off? Hobbs locates Dom, says, hey, your girlfriend's alive and working for Owen and his crew. Dom wants to do the job himself, but Hobbs is like, hey, man, we need the whole family. Elena, there's a nice scene between him and Elena where she's like, listen, if they came to me and said my husband was still alive, nothing could get in my way. I'm not going to stand between you and Letty. And I think that's like a complicated situation that I'm surprised this movie has as much grace with. Like, it lets Elena, like, it acknowledges the impact that has on Elena, but also, like, I think it's in keeping with both her and Dom's character that she would want him to go after Letty and he'd go after Letty. Anyway, Dom's crew gets all together at the headquarters, and Hobbs tells them that Owen is stealing components to create an electromagnetic pulse weapon called Nightshade, intending to sell it to the highest bidder. Dom and his crew accept the mission in exchange for pardons, and I just gotta say, at what point do they stop working for pardons? Because I think this is like probably the third time they've taken a gig for pardons, at least, and every single time they end up on the run still. Like Roman and Brian get pardoned at the end of Too Fast, Too Furious, and the next time we see them, Rome's still on the run, and like Brian's on the run because of what he did in Fast 4, and then they get pardoned from working in Fast 4, I believe, and I don't know. I just at a certain point, it's like these pardons.
They asked for pardons in 4. They asked for pardons in 5. They asked for pardons in this one. I think this is the last one that they asked for pardons.
It's one of the, it's like
I can't remember.
What's the exchange rate for pardons?
Like a task force at this point, so that's why they don't ask for pardons.
Yeah, but it's just funny because they say they'll do this job for pardons. Like, first of all, you know you're going to do it anyway because you want Letty back. But why do you think you're going to get the pardon when you haven't gotten him before?
That's what's always really funny.
At a certain point, I wouldn't trust them.
What was it? When they tried to get Dom his pardon in, like, what was it? It wasn't his... Was it?
Yeah, 4, Brian makes a deal in the FBI that that he needs Dom's help, basically, and Dom will help them in return for the pardon, and they like fully agree to it. It is like a legally binding thing, and then they just decide anyway to send and then the judge in the case is just like, I know you were agreed to on a pardon, but you've done so much robbery, 40 years in prison, and then they break them out and are on the run again.
That sounds like the American legal system.
I mean, it does, but that's what I'm saying. You think these guys would know better than to... I mean, Rome at least asks, hey, we still getting paid, though, too, right? There's a good bit in there, too, with Rome's trying to get a snack, and Hobbs is explaining the situation, and he just shoots up and opens the vending machine and tells him it's on the house. I do like that part.
Yeah, that is a good part.
I
like
do
that
love
part.
I do love the bit that he keeps that Rome keeps saying that Hobbs smells like baby oil, and everybody keeps making fun of Rome's head.
That big ass forehead.
Yeah, so fun.
That big ass forehead.
Before I forget, at the end of this movie, there is a great moment where Hobbs is coming in and Rome yells out, "Better hide your baby oil," and Hobbs yells back, "Better hide your big ass forehead." This apparently, according to Ludacris, he had the reputation on set was that The Rock was usually pretty serious, and that Tyrese Gibson is the guy who was always joking around and making comments and whatnot. And that it was not in the script. That comeback from The Rock was not in the script, and Ludacris just suggested he say it, thinking there's nowhere he'll actually do it. And they're filming the take, and he just spits it out. So the reaction on Rome's face and Tej does a spit take is just their reaction to The Rock saying that unexpectedly. Just telling Tyrese Gibson, better hide your big ass forehead.
Which that one of my favorite moments from this movie.
I hope these sets are fun, man.
Better have the baby oil is also what they say when Diddy's coming.
Yo, too soon. Don't give me that look,
No, the
Jason.
sooner the better. The sooner the better.
What is that supposed to mean? I need you to explain what the sooner the better means. I think you just say things sometimes without thinking about them, Matthew.
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Anyway, so in London, they find Owen's hideout a little too easily, and it's revealed to be a distraction while his crew performs a heist at an Interpol building. Owen flees in a custom car, detonating his hideout and disabling most of the police, leaving Dom, Brian, Tej, Roman, Han, Giselle, Hobbs, and Riley to pursue him. So, all of the main characters. And bigger side characters. Owen's investigation into Dom's crew reveals Letty's relationship with Dom, but it's then revealed that she doesn't remember anything. She has complete amnesia. Dom's crew learns that Owen is connected to Arturo Braga, the villain from 4, who Letty had been undercover investigating when she was seemingly killed. Brian returns to LA as a prisoner to question Braga, who reveals that Owen helped them build his drug cartel and that Letty survived the explosion. Owen took her in after discovering her amnesia to get her to work for him. There is a great scene as well where Stasiak, the FBI agent from 4, played by Shea Wiggum, returns, and Brian breaks his nose to get out of Gen Pop so he can get closer to Braga. And it's the second time that he's broken Stasiak's nose, and it's just he just knees him in the groin, breaks his nose, and he sits down on the ground like, again? And this is like jumping way ahead, but Stasiak ends up appearing in a couple more of these movies, I think at the start of 7 too, and it's supposed to be like pretty relatively recent, and his nose is still fucked up in them. And I think that's a great attention to detail for a movie that otherwise plays continuity so fast and loose.
Fast and Furious.
Damn it was right there and I missed it.
Sean, you beat me to it. I was going to say that too.
You guys are losing your edge.
I do love it when he returns, though, because it's just funny to watch him get his nose broken again.
I'm always happy to see Shea Wiggum.
No, that's real, though, because I feel like, now that I'm thinking about it, I've never met someone that's just broken their nose once. I've met so many people that have broken their nose multiple times. It's never just once. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I swear I've never met someone who's just broken their nose once.
I don't know if I know anyone who's broken their nose.
I mean,
I haven't
that's the
broken
same
my
thing
nose.
here. I've cut my nose several times.
Yup, that's the same thing. That's comparable.
Sounds like you
I'm
were
sorry,
man.
trying to relate.
It's fine. So I do think. So I
It's just like, it's always gonna get shot, or it's gonna be like, I got stabbed by a needle once. So you'll be okay, buddy.
Sure.
I do think I'll say this about this movie. It definitely isn't as out the gate exciting as 5 was. I think like there's a certain excitement to 5 being the first time this level of like the family. Jason is cracking up still and muted, and I just looking over at Jason's camera and
Sorry, I'm
No,
just
you-
still thinking about Matt cutting his nose.
I'm coming.
I was just like imagining someone like, have you ever broken a bone? And like, no, but I've cut myself a few times.
You'll never know my pain. You know what, guys? Matt's experienced racism and we haven't, so we should shut up.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? Oh my god. Man. I don't know how to redirect from Matt's foolishness, let's say. What a lovable
I'm surprised he's having
Speaking of racism, let's get to something that has to do with the FBI. This movie.
Oh, that's a great Sean, you need to start hosting more often. That's a wonderful transition. Okay, yeah, back to the FBI stuff. I think this movie kind of isn't as exciting out the gate. There's like something special about 5, seeing them all unite kind of for the first time from all the different versions of Fast. And it's still cool to see them, and they're also super like, all of the characters still behave like how you feel like these characters should behave. So that's all great. But there's like none of the action's bad. It's all very good, but it just feels like 5 to me comes out of the gate at like a 5 out of 5, 5-star movie, and this is like a 3 out of 5. Like, it's just not as exciting. The action's good, but it's nothing super memorable. The characters are all good, but it's just not it isn't presenting you anything you didn't see in 5 yet. That comes kind of later. So I do think there is a bit of a knock against this in that it's not, I don't know, at least for me, I don't know if you guys disagree, it is not quite as thoroughly entertaining as the last one for a little bit. Though, again, I'm talking about, like, that was like a 99 and this is an 80. It's not like this is not entertaining, if that makes sense.
Just think of it as an elaborate scheme. Just think of it as an elaborate scheme because 5 set the expectations so high, so then you need to lower them just a little bit, so then you can blow them away with the sequel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't 5 start off like pretty hot and heavy with what was
Yep.
they were
The train heist.
car chase, yeah, exactly. So like it's kind of tough to top that. Excuse me, sorry, I'm burping. The Dr. Pepper's coming back at me.
This is kind of also the first one that doesn't start with like an action scene either. It really just kind of starts with Dom and Brian sort of like quote unquote racing to go see the birth of Brian and Mia's child. So like the rest start with something that's like action packed and like actually has stakes, and this one was they're racing to a child, which, you know, I guess character wise that sounds about right. But like in terms of like all the others, from what I remember, just start with an action set piece, and usually they're mostly, if not all, really good. So this is like the first one, at least that I can remember of one more recent ones, because I can't remember. I think 3
3 opens with them racing for the high school girlfriend.
With an action.
Well, you can't really make an action scene when they quote unquote retired after the last movie.
Yeah, Matt makes a good point. It's kind of a necessity of like 5 gave them all their perfect ending, so you need to take time to create the scenario for why they'd all do this again, and obviously the concept of getting or staying pardoned, but mostly bringing Letty back is what would bring them out of retirement.
I at least appreciate them giving us a good reason for why they would return, because I feel like a lot of franchises just love the status quo so much they can't come up with any bullshit reason to bring it back.
Yeah, it's silly to say because it's like obviously so out there that she's mysteriously survived and she lost amnesia, she lost her memory or whatever. But that feels so fitting with like the steadily increasing kind of absurdity of the Fast Saga that it's a reason that you can completely buy in why they'd all drop everything, and it doesn't feel out of place because we've been gently increasing how this, amplifying how out there everything is in this world. And that's like, I think Fast 6's biggest contribution to the ongoing saga is it's when it fully commits to being a soap opera. Obviously you had dramatic moments before with Letty's now revealed to be fake death, but this is the first time you hit like a classic trope of that genre with this person's alive and they have amnesia.
Is this also the first time they brought back a major character back from the dead?
I think so.
Probably brought up, not like Han's case.
Yeah.
Where they just, made this like a prequel.
I was gonna say technically Han.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, this is like
Han, but he was technically killed later.
Yeah, this is the first time where you have a character. This is the first this person's been alive the whole time reveal.
Yeah.
I will also add that this, while 5 had the whole, like, seeing everybody come together, it was sans Letty. So, like, this one is nice to see because there's sans Letty anymore. It's, like, the whole cast this time, which I think is, like, to me, that's the biggest draw of this one, is that there's no, like, asterisk is with the family's all here. Because now it's like, the family's all here. Obviously, we don't have that the whole time, but the family's all here in this one. Except for, you know what? We lose, what are the names? Leo and Santos?
Yeah, they get a name drop in this, but they're not in it. Yeah.
Those are the only 2 we're missing this time, which is, okay, I take back what I said, so this one still has an asterisk to it, but at least we get Letty.
Well, look, I love them, but they're not as important as Letty.
Yeah.
They're just not.
I was gonna say, and they were never as integral to the plot or to the cast.
I love
most of the other
Like, I'd like them to be in every one of these, but also if I have to cut somebody from the family, it's Giselle, and then after that, it's them. They're easily the least essential.
Just like he died.
Yeah. That becomes an issue later on, the amount of people who don't stay dead. But I do think this is a fixing of a mistake with bringing her back. I guess technically they fixed it with the post-credit scene in 5, but this is the movie that properly, fully, unequivocally brings back Letty. There's no, it was a twin. There's no, Letty is back. And I think that, this is kind of like low-key her movie. Obviously I'm willing to bet she doesn't have the most screen time or most dialogue or anything, but the movie is about her. It is about why she is important to this crew. It is about, she gets to have an arc on her own, and making the decision even without her memories to do the right things. And this is the movie that made me be like, I'd watch just a Letty movie. Like, if you just gave me a movie that was her and maybe Mia on an adventure, I'd happily watch that. And I know they've talked about doing women-led spin-offs, and if that comes to fruition, I hope it's centered around Letty and Mia. Mia does not get enough screen time in any of these, but at least she doesn't get fake killed.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that I'd say is disappointing, is that, like, Mia had, like, a pretty good spot in the last one, and this one she is left to the sideline again because of baby.
Baby.
Give me that, baby.
Wait, 1 second.
One Mississippi. I mean, is it 1 second Mississippi? I'm gonna start a conversation, and Matt can obviously just jump in when he's back. But I want to know what you guys think about Owen Shaw as a villain. For me, he's definitely in the upper half of fast villains we've gotten. He's nothing crazy. He's definitely not my preferred Shaw, as we end up getting a pretty thorough exploration of that family. But I think Luke Evans is pretty well cast in it, and I think he's like kind of a weirdly good transition villain, like I said, into this more like spy-based versus cartel leader atmosphere.
Yeah, I'd say he's solid. There's nothing that great, but there's nothing terrible. And in terms of like transitioning from like Braga to him to next, I like the way that they've kind of like handled the escalation of it and how it's going from like none of them are disconnected from each other. And on top of that, it's kind of like they've been I shouldn't say subtly, nothing is subtle. They keep continuing to raise the stakes with each villain. Because like Braga was more, even though in this one he kind of talks about how he's not just a local guy, he's a big guy. He started globally. They make it clear that like Shaw in this one is a much more global threat, even though it primarily takes place in London. But like they keep slowly raising the stakes, and I think that in terms of like just the transition between each one, I appreciate it and I like it so far.
It really is like, you know that thing about you put a frog in water and boiling water jumps out. If you slowly turn up the heat, it won't realize till it's too late. What you just talked about is kind of the franchise has done that. It doesn't jump from stealing DVD players to British SAS defector steals a very destructive weapon and tries to sell it to the highest bidder. It goes from local gang stuff to a bigger cartel issue in Miami to now we're going overseas and we're dealing with the Yakuza. Okay, now we have the Mexican cartel. Okay, now we have the guy who runs everything in South America. Okay, now we have the guy behind all that. And then it keeps going. So you don't really realize until you're at like 6, 7, 8 that you're like, oh wow, these movies have gone so far afield of where we started. At least that was what happened for me.
Yeah. They kept climbing the mountain, but now there's nowhere left but space, and you can't breathe in space.
And to me, this is where like the antagonists and the villains start to become more memorable, in my opinion. Like the early ones, the family's the core, obviously, and the antagonist, it's just kind of there. It's there as a story-based thing. It's not like a real memorable villain at all. This is where I feel like we start to get more well thought out, maybe not well thought out, but fully fleshed out characters as the villains and with motives and whatnot. So, I would agree, like what Jake said, that he's in the upper half of fast villains. I would say lower upper half, though.
Yeah, so far, he's probably... I don't know if we're counting what's-his-face, the douchebag antagonist for Better Luck Tomorrow, but if we're not counting him, this guy may be number 2. I kind of like DK from Tokyo Drift more. But, I mean, he's for sure better than Braga.
Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong. But he's definitely better than, like, Braga was. And the guy from 5 from Brazil is just kind of there. Like, that movie's great, but it's not, like, anything to do with him. And I think at least Owen Shaw has this, like, kind of cool dark reflection thing going on with, like, seeing how somebody like Owen, who is very different presenting but has comparable skills to Dom, and the way he treats his team like disposable parts that he like cycles in
gone
and
here?
outs like he's customizing a car.
Oh no, he's still.
You can't hear me? God, I hope everything
You cut out. You cut out.
I really- I hope
50 seconds ago, what you said.
Okay, well, I'll say it. Hopefully, stuff caught it anyway. But I think the most interesting thing, I don't know where I got caught off exactly, but I think the most interesting thing about Shaw is him and his like team and his dynamic with how treating them like car parts, disposable and replacing them as needed. Whereas obviously Dom is so loyal, which you can kind of bring into reflecting in his commitment to American muscle, his commitment to like the car he likes, to the Dodge Charger, to his dad's car, to tradition, and Owen has just no care for that. He weaponizes a person with amnesia, someone who literally can't remember tradition. So his himself isn't so much as interesting, I think, as like what he kind of, not to sound pretentious about a Fast and Furious movie, but represents.
I could definitely see that.
So, with the FBI's help, Brian is released from prison and regroups with the team in London. Dom challenges Letty to a street race. Afterwards, he returns her cross necklace to her, but she chooses to remain with Owen. They have a really, really, for me, genuinely good scene. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know both Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel kind of get dogged on for their lack of range when it comes to acting, and that's like totally valid. But everything in this movie is completely in their wheelhouse, and I think their chemistry is electric. I think he hits some corny ass "you can never could resist American muscle" line, but he says it so smoothly, and it's like everything between them. You feel a history there, even though that character's not supposed to remember anything. And some of it can come from, I think, kind of part of this movie's main, like, I don't know, this could have been a tagline, you could call it the theme, but show me how you drive, I'll show you who you are. It's so corny, but it's sincere, and that's what I love about it. So yeah, they have this nice moment, but she ultimately decides to yeah, when she asks what he knows about everything, I know everything about you. I don't know. Vin Diesel in these movies is doing exactly what Vin Diesel should do. Anyway,
I mean, he's just authentic, so it definitely helps. It
Yeah.
helps that they care.
it's again like, yeah, I feel like they give a shit. I feel like they're absolutely doing. I don't know. They give a shit. It's sincere and I love it. God, what was I talking about? Yeah, so they have a nice. Fuck, I totally lost track of what I was talking about. This is gonna be a fun part to edit.
Oh, don't worry. Just like this conversation, soon Fast and Furious will also forget the plot as we go along this journey.
So they have this. Nice moment. Yeah, one sec. I need to recalibrate my brain. Let me look at my notes.
I'm dead inside.
You're dead inside?
Yeah.
Aren't we all, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think my main point is just the strong suit of the movie to me is the stuff between Dom and Letty. You took a franchise low point of killing her off for something that felt like shock value and fake stakes, and you turned it into something that reinforces the soap opera tone of the story and provides really meaningful moments between one of your main leads, well, two of your main leads really, because Letty only becomes more and more important.
And I'm glad it stays that way.
Yeah, it definitely it's great seeing Letty back in it. Her absence was felt in the previous movie, so it's good to have her interacting with Vin Diesel again in this movie, because I do think that a lot of their scenes together are some of the best.
Well, yeah, because they fit. Because,
Yeah.
as we talked about before, I feel like they have like the same range of acting, as in they just play the muscle. They just play the tough person,
Yeah.
and they're really good at it.
Not that these movies are overly emotional, but I do think that when they have emotional scenes together, they do play off of each other well. well enough.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just the combination of they're within like the same range of like character acting, and then also they do seem to one have a genuine chemistry, and two, I forget the second point, unfortunately.
I see amnesia is the theme
Matt?
of this episode.
Yeah, Matt caught Letty's amnesia.
It's just a theme of my entire life. I'm gonna have dementia by 50.
Hell yeah.
So,
Hell yeah.
after Letty leave, this is really where the movie starts to pick up with me. You get a classic drag race scene, and then some of the good, emotional stuff. Why the characters are why you stick around. And so after Letty, fuck, I can't speak tonight. I'm off my game. After Letty leaves, Owen arrives and offers Dom a chance to walk away, threatening to hurt his family, but Dom refuses. Tez tracks Owen's next attack on a Spanish NATO base. Owen's crew assaults a highway military convoy carrying a computer chip to complete Nightshade. Dom's crew interferes while Owen, accompanied by Letty, commandeer a tank. Ryan and Roman flip the tank before it causes any further damage, resulting in Letty being thrown from the vehicle as Dom saves her. Owen and his crew are captured, but discover Mia has been kidnapped by Owen's henchmen, and Hobbs is forced to release Owen. Riley leaves with him, revealing that she was with Owen the whole time. Letty, meanwhile, chooses to remain with Dom and the family, despite still not having her memory. So that drastically undersells a lot of things. Talking about the movie really picking up, that tank scene on the freeway is also, when you talk about like the increasing heights of the action, I think that is up there with, it is almost as good as driving through the safe through Rio. It is on the same plane as the train heist. It is the first like action set piece that, again, nothing beforehand was bad, but that like really, knocks my socks off in this one. God, I'm white.
Really knocks my socks off. Should I call you daddy from now on?
I'll
not
knock your
as
cocks
a
off.
gesture of sexual affection, but more so the fact that you're like a 50 to 60-year-old man. Can you talk about politics?
I always say that Jake's like a dad with no kids.
I'll tell you what, I don't think I have dad politics, at least not compared to mine.
Can you tell me about the Civil War?
The Confederate flag is bad. If you fly it, you're a racist.
You also represent a dead country.
Yes, you can join it. So, on topic,
Hell yeah.
tank scene is fucking sick.
Oh, it is. It's a very cool scene.
I think
It's the one thing to me that, like, shows that this movie is, like, really trying to top the last one. And the thing I'll give them, too, is up until this point, it all feels relatively natural when they one-up things. Like, I don't want to say it doesn't stay out of the ordinary for them to have a tank running through a highway in these movies, but, like, with how they've escalated things so far, it feels like a step up, but not too far. One that I can, within this universe, get behind and understand, and it's really cool. It isn't until later that we start to see things that I'm like, I have to suspend a little bit of disbelief, but, like, this is in that good sweet spot where they're like one-upping themselves, but only by a tiny amount that's just enough to make it a little bit better than the last one, and just below where it goes, this is a little too far.
there's a moment in this scene that I don't know if you guys remember, but it was one of my top, like, wow, when I show these guys these movies, I cannot wait for them to see this one specific moment. And when we watched this together in person, whenever that was years ago, when at the end, as Letty has made the decision that she doesn't fuck with what Owen's doing, and she gets launched off of the tank. And this the description of the scene we gave doesn't like give a proper picture of this highway, because it's like a 4-lane highway, 2 going one way, 2 lanes going the other, but instead of a median, there's a gap, and these highway lanes are bridges over a giant ravine. So they commandeer this tank over these high up, hundreds, thousands, or whatever feet up in the air bridges, highway. All these cars going super fast by them while they're trying to fight Shaw's people in a tank, who have a tank. And Letty gets launched over the gap, and she's gonna fall to her death. And Dom leaps out of his speeding car into the air, catches her in the middle, and they land hard but somehow safely onto the hood of another car. And first time I watched this, I lost my mind, and I could not wait for you guys to see that. And I remember being in my mom's living room and seeing that, and like, you guys lost it, and I was so satisfied, and I did like a lap around the room, because that shit is so peak to me. And if you think that that's stupid, I'm sorry that you don't know how to have fun. And like, listen, this franchise has been so consistent in that if you land on a car, you're safe. Like, there's not a safer place to be within the context of these movies. Well, in a car is the safest, on a car is the second safest. It makes total sense. It is completely in-universe consistent. And yeah, man, if you don't watch that scene of them fighting a tank, you're just so boring.
This is the first time I ever realized that a superpower could just be car.
Car? What's your superpower? Car. I like that.
A superpower car. You know what I just realized that's really disappointing? The description you're reading off of no longer lists the name of all the cars. Really shows that we've transitioned to something completely different now, and it's so sad.
No. I know, because I was kind of expecting like a breakdown of the cars when they were at that auction to buy all of them.
It would be so funny if they sat there and somebody broke down each and every single individual car in that scene. But it would be really funny to be like, and Dom launched himself out of his Dodge Durango, whatever the fuck, DTG 55 espresso car to catch Letty, and it's like, I would fucking die from that.
Wait, okay, for real, we should circle back to the auction scene that Matt's talking about, though, because I feel like that is making me realize that we're not talking about how funny this movie is. They get the cars for the missions, they go to this auction, Tej and Hobbs, and this, like, snooty British guy tries to, like, talk shit on them because they don't look like, in his words, ballers, so they can't afford the cars. So they then promptly, just cause, buy every single car and then make the guy give Hobbs, who's obviously, he's played by The Rock, comedically large, has him give his shirt and pants and watch to Hobbs. And walk away in nothing but his underwear.
That's functional.
Yeah, because he shit on them for wearing functional clothes. It's so, but like this movie is so funny, man, and it's just a boatload of fun. The whole series is, other than the bad one, but we're talking about this one, and it's so fun.
This one to me is definitely like, I want to at some point go back now and see which one of these I find like to be the funniest, because I feel like I could see it being a toss up between this last one and this one. Honestly.
Yeah, I'd probably give the 9 to 5, but that's fair.
Yeah, I feel like
that's fair.
I feel like this stretch is really when it's at its funniest.
It's Rome Bitches is maybe the best joke in the whole series. Or when Luda, during the tank scene, when he says we gotta go to plan B, C, D, E, we need more alphabets. Like, it's just like, these people are such cartoons by this point in the best way possible.
Yeah, man, we are really at the peak of the mountain,
Another slight knock on the movie is Riley being bad. It's super unsurprising to me. I feel like she's such a nothing character. She's just kind of like person standing next to Hobbs that I wish was Elena. I wish she got to be part of the action.
Are you sure? Well, I'm sure her being bad in real life is just as.
Well, no, it does. Listen,
disappointing.
listen, and you know what? And it is, and you know, Gal Gadot, bad actor, sucks in real life. Her and Gina Carano are having a can't act off, but yeah, I mean that character's a nothing character, so it feels so obvious to me that she's only there so that you can have a betrayal reveal that she's working for Shaw. Because other than that, she's just like.
Yeah, she doesn't have a character.
Well, you could say maybe she's the mean mug and tough girl, but you're bringing Letty back, so then that would be like you don't need that archetype.
I do love how she fucking dies, though.
Oh yes, she does. She does die. And what does Letty say? Wrong team, bitch.
Yeah, wrong team, bitch.
Yeah, wrong team, bitch.
And I'm like, I am so.
Pop just gives him the gives her the look.
And that's how I feel about conservatives. Wrong team, bitch, and then shoot him with a harpoon gun. Like, I am glad that like Letty gets a cool moment in a one-liner in this movie, given how much like it centers around her.
She gets her moment, and she gets to murder somebody with a harpoon gun. I think that's pretty sick.
It's definitely. It's definitely a good call to make up for the fact that they killed her so unceremoniously.
Yeah, I like this is like an oops, we're sorry. This is the oops, we're sorry movie.
Or it's like the oops, Oletta. Oops, Oletta.
I don't get that reference.
I don't know. I'm saying random stuff again.
Apparently Matt doesn't get his own references. So Owen's group boards on a moving, we have a plane description, Antonov AN-124, which I don't remember somebody describes this as not a plane, that's a planet. It's gotta be Romer Taj, but I don't remember who says that.
It's not the plane, it's the pilot.
Great movie. Top Gun Maverick.
Pilot.
It's never too late for a recommendation.
I don't remember.
Well, it doesn't really matter, but the crew gives chase. Dom, Lenny, and Brian board the craft. Brian rescues Mia, and she escapes. The plane attempts to take off, but is held down by the excess weight of the team, tethering their vehicles to the planes. Giselle falls off the plane while killing Owen's henchman, Adolfson, which is wild name, saving Han.
What a name.
Letty kills Riley and escapes with Hobbs to safety. We talked about the wrong team bitch one-liner. Dom pursues Owen and the computer chip as the plane crashes. Owen is thrown from it and seriously injured. Giselle is killed. Han never got to go to Tokyo with her. Dom reunites with his crew and gives the chip to Hobbs in order to secure their pardons. It's a really cool, Dom walking out of a plane crash, flaming wreckage to reunite with Letty. What?
That and that and when they're stopping their cars, the like plane is still like moving forward and everything's on fire, but you just see the cars all slowing down. That shot was so cool. Also, the guy who got sucked into the engine. That guy was
that's a good kill.
Cool to watch die.
I just wish there was more blood.
I mean, it's all in all a happy ending. I mean, it breaks my heart to see Han cry, but we get a reprieve from having to watch Gal Gadot, in quotes, act. Han, I can't speak. Mia's safe, Letty and Dom reunite. I felt like I had another thing I wanted to say.
No.
Dominic, no. She has some real bad line deliveries in this one.
Isn't that all her movies?
Fair point.
Correct.
Dominic Toretto, continues being the coolest person who ever lived, coolest fictional character ever. So that's always a joy. I do like when Hobbs asks for his price or something, and he says 1927, and it's the address to the original house from the first Fast. I mean, this is another. It's kind of. It's impressive to me that this doubled down on having a perfect ending. Like, I felt like Fast Five gave these characters a perfect send off, and they were like, okay, but now let's fix the Letty mistake, bring her back, and then just give them another perfect ending, and now they have the original house again to boot with everything else, and their kid is born. I guess it's not a happy ending for Elena, who has a dead husband and a Dom that's in love with a Letty. But
you don't understand. Her family is the police.
yeah.
She's like, this is where I belong. This is my
I'm
family.
Sorry. Wrong team.
Wrong team, bitch.
Wrong team, bitch. A lot of good. It is fulfilling. What are the other? I guess it's kind of just a slight progression of his arc from 5. But I think Hobbs shows some decent growth in this too. It's pretty fulfilling to watch him fight side by side with Dom at the end, kind of embracing how they get shit done, and like even at 5 when he lets them get the head start, he plans to still go after them, and he only really comes after them in this movie in a friendly way because he needs help with Shaw. But. And I guess they do kind of sign off at the barbecue on a tense note, but it just feels like they've buried the hatchet in a way that The Rock's best performance in this role is still 5, but he's good in this. And the character's good in this and belongs in the movie. It doesn't feel forced to me just for the sake of having The Rock.
I think he has a good, solid standing in this, I feel. I would say, like, performance-wise, it doesn't feel as good as the last one, but I still think it's within character and still just good as, like, it should be.
He doesn't overstay his welcome. You do get, like, what do you call it, like, the rockisms, like, the rock charisma, but it's definitely not,
You can smell what the Rock is cooking.
Well, yeah, because he's actually kind of cooking in this movie, and I don't want to throw up when I see him.
It's about drive.
It's about
Driving
power.
fast cars. Yeah, he's definitely a little bit more of a brand, but it's still, he's not totally, I don't think he's only purely playing The Rock in this, the way he is kind of in Hobbs and Shaw and 8. Which I guess we'll get to when we get to.
He's still playing a character. This is not like Hobbs and Shaw, Hobbs, where he's basically The Rock at that point.
Yeah. So the crew get their pardons. They get the original house from the first Fast back for Mia and Brian and their son Jack to live in. And the movie ends with them having, of course, the family barbecue. I already told the anecdote that I wanted to tell about the better hide your big ass forehead. Hobbs and Elena are going to work together. Elena has, no hard feelings because apparently she's an absolute saint. And especially given the things we find out in subsequent installments that she's pregnant and hasn't told anyone. Anyway, Elena accepts that Dom loves Letty and the group prepares to say grace, where I got to pull up. Rome, of course, is the first person to touch the food. So that means he has to say grace. And I gotta see if I can find the prayer he gives, because it is so perfect. Woman's prayer. Thank you, Father, for gathering our friends. Father, we give thanks for all the choices we've made, because that's what makes us who we are. Let us forever cherish the loved ones we've lost along the way. Thank you for the little angel, the newest addition to our family. Thank you for bringing... So I want you to note the importance of this. Thank you for the little angel, the newest addition to our family. Thank you for bringing Letty home. And most of all, thank you for fast cars, which is the last line of the movie as we cut to another fun credit song. And yeah, I mean, I already said it, but I think they did a perfect ending 2 movies in a row, and that's, what other franchise does that?
Fast cars will always be more important than children. That's why we keep them on the road and continue to hit children.
It's so fitting that that's the last line, and it's so fitting that Rome says it. It's just great. I love it. No notes.
No notes.
I guess in a sense, it's not totally the last line because there is a mid-credit scene. For my money, one of the goated post-credit scenes of all time. It's an immediate. Again, it doesn't compromise the core of the movie. You can end it there. It doesn't feel like essential, but it's a tease for the next installment, and it's this immediate oh shit moment reveal. So Han, we quickly realized that we're being taken to Tokyo Drift, that we're in the car chase. That was where Han died in Tokyo Drift when he's suddenly blindsided by, here's a car description, Sean, a Mercedes-Benz W140. The driver then gets out of the car, revealing it's Jason Statham, which at this point we do not know who he is playing. We do not know the character's name. You come to find out in the next movie that he is Owen Shaw's brother, who has been severely hurt in the plane crash but survived and taken into custody. The driver walks away, dropping Letty's cross necklace by the crash, and calls Dom saying, "You don't know me, but you're about to," as Han's car explodes, killing him. So we are finally caught up with, more or less, with Tokyo Drift, and the reveal that Han's death was not an accident, but Jason Statham as this, at the time, unknown character has killed him. Fantastic scene. Immediately makes me want to go watch that. I'll watch Jason Statham in anything.
Yeah, it is a great scene, and like you said, a perfect end credit scene or mid credit scene, anything like that. The perfect one doesn't, it's not necessary to complete the movie, but it adds to it and brings you to the next place, and that's what this one did.
Oh shit! Speaking of, I need to watch the Beekeeper.
It's decent. It's like, all right, it's entertaining. Jason Statham's always good. If you haven't watched Wrath of Man with Jason Statham, no, that's a fucking banger. Also, The Meg and The Meg 2.
The new movie thing. The Meg is one I need to watch.
Oh, Sean, you would love The Meg, and The Meg 2 is even better. We should cover those, dude. Like, they're so fun. Apparently, they're based off a very expansive series of novels.
What?
Yeah. I gotta read them.
God.
If we ever make it big, we're doing a culture illiterate book club, and our fans will read The Meg with us.
First book, The Meg.
Oh god. All the momentum will be lost with that one episode.
First episode, The Meg. Second episode, War and Peace.
War and Peace. Oh god.
Well, I mean, I love this movie overall. I don't like it as much as 5, but it's still great. It nails the landing. There's a couple of great action scenes with the plane scene at the end and with the tank scene on the freeway. The highlight has gotta be Michelle Rodriguez's Letty. The excitement of her being back. The scenes between her and Dom are fantastic. They're very well acted. Those two leads have been working together at this point for so long. The chemistry is great. That is the moment I'm enjoying it the whole time, but that scene after their race is where I fully lock in, I think, emotionally. And it's overall just another great time, absolute top tier Fast and Furious. And low points is things here and there. I still don't like Gal Gadot's acting. And now you're adding another bad actor. It's not the strongest of villains. There's like stuff you can kind of nitpick, and I guess for the most part, the weakest point is just that, at least in the beginning, it feels sort of redundant. Like, you're glad they're making another one because you're having a good time, but it's still not doing anything that 5 hasn't done until you really get into the nitty-gritty with Letty. And then it justifies why they made another, I think, really well. And it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Jake said. I think we're right in the middle of the prime of Fast and Furious. I think 5 to 7. I think we've mentioned that a couple times, but I'll say it again. And this movie's just fun. You don't not too much else to it. It's fun. It's good time. make you laugh. It's entertaining. Watch it. I think that the one of the best parts about this is it's arguably the funniest installment. I'd say at least one of the funniest installment in the franchise. And if you're a guy like me, that is important to you. So, yeah, this is where I really feel like they find their stride into this 5 and 6 stretch. They find their stride in what they're turning this franchise into, and they hit it out of the park. The worst part, I don't know. Probably just that it's a little bit slower in pace than the others, but I think that's ultimately the right move. But it's still ultimately less entertaining than watching a train heist or Prison Break or whatever.
Yeah, I also recommend this movie, and I can't really say that its slower pace is a criticism, or because it kind of has to start at a slower pace because of how the previous movie ended. But I feel like they did good with what they had. I definitely like the final scene. I definitely like the plane scene, especially with them using the cars as weights. And yeah, it's just more of the same, which is what I want. So if you like Fast 5, you like Fast 6.
Yeah, I recommend it. I think this does a good job keeping up the consistency of what they've had in 5 and kind of keeps that moving. I think, if anything, my favorite part is that this one has everything that the series has to offer in a lot of ways. It has the whole upping the ante of things with the tank and the fucking plane crashing. It has some street racing elements. It has some heist stuff from some of the older stuff. It has some of the crime and espionage stuff that we kind of later become more acquainted with. This one I feel like has the most, I don't want to say range, but it has everything that the series kind of has and does continue to offer, but it gets them all so succinctly in there that it just is chef's kiss for the franchise. My least favorite thing, this one's a hard one because there isn't really anything that I particularly hate about it. I guess that to me it maybe doesn't have as many it doesn't start as strong, I guess, is probably my least favorite thing, but that isn't particularly a bad thing.
Well, I mean, I think it's getting to be expected because, with the exception of 4, we kind of all recommend these every time. But I mean, frankly, I hope that it continues.
Change. Don't worry, it's going to change.
Well, that'll be more interesting to listen to probably, but a little sad because I think liking things is usually more fun. And but you and me, I think, may get into it a little bit. Hopefully not next episode, though. Thanks to Alo.
No, that won't.
Don't disrespect Paul.
Next one's
Pedro. Don't disrespect Pedro. Thank you to Alo Fett, ALOFETT, for the podcast artwork. Thank you to Jason Fett for the podcast music. You're muted. He's muted.
I hope you die tonight. I'm Jason. I did the podcast music.
It's Jason Statham, everybody.
I did the podcast music. You can follow my band at Faraday Band PA on Instagram. You can follow me at The Upsides PA on Instagram. Wait, hold on. That's not quite. Yeah, The Upsides PA on Instagram, The Upsides on SoundCloud. There's not really much there at the moment, but it's gonna change one day. Very busy. That's all.
That's all, folks.
You can follow us at Culture Illiterate on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube at illiterate_pod on socials. cultureilliteratepod@gmail.com for emails if you want to, email us something. Please, tell your friends, rate, review, all that good stuff. Leave a comment. anything that you want to do. That's all cool. I get a little boost of serotonin or whatever the fucking, I don't know if that's the right one of the chemicals. Next,
Serotonin.
dopamine. My fiance is telling me it's dopamine. Next episode, we're covering easily the most emotional and tragic installment of the Fast and Furious saga with Furious 7.
5.
7.